today's tutorial video, we're going to talk about one-step equations with addition and subtraction. So before we get to what is an equation, first thing we have to figure out is what's the difference between an expression and an equation. So an expression is a number sentence with variables and numbers. For example, the expression m plus 7. An expression has many solutions because it doesn't have an equal sign. For example, you could pick any particular value for m to get a solution. So for example, if m is 5, then 5 plus 7 is 12. M could be 2, 2 plus 7 is 9, or even a negative value like -3. So -3 plus 7 would be 4. So you could pick any value for m and it would give you the correct, any solution that you were looking for. An equation, on the other hand, an equation has to have, and the first 4 letters on there is equal for an equal sign. So m plus 7 is equal to 10. This makes it an equation because of this equal sign. So now an equation has a limited solution. It only has one solution and one particular value that can make this equation true. So the particular value that would make this true, and I know that we can do this in the top of our head, we would draw a model to figure out what value would make that true. So when you're thinking about equality, think about a balance beam, okay? Where your equal sign holds both sides balanced. And so in a balance beam, whatever you do to the left side, you also have to do to the right side. So I'm going to model this with algebra tiles. So my variable m is my unknown, okay, and I'm adding 7. And these are positive values. And so that's going to equal 10. And so the purpose of balancing the balance beam and figuring out what the value of m is we have to move all of our single digits to the other side. And in order to do that, we are going to use 0 pairs. So if I have 7 positives, to get rid of 7 positives, I'm going to use 7 negatives. But now I've unbalanced the beam, so I have to do the same thing on the other side. And the reason why we're using negatives, remember that a positive and a negative cancel each other out and equal 0. So all of these are going to cancel out. And so here, when I cancel out my 7 0 pairs, you will see that I am left with 3, which is what your answer should be. So when you're solving the equation mathematically, okay, I usually just like to put a line there to separate my sides. I know that in order to get my m by itself, I need to get rid of plus 7. So I do the inverse operation. So I take away 7. And I have to do the same thing to the other side so that it keeps it balanced. So this is going to cancel out. And your m is going to equal to 3. And so that is how you solve one-step equations with addition. And it's not very different with subtraction. So let me go ahead and do a subtraction example real quick. So with subtraction, okay, let's say I have P minus 6 equals 5. Okay, and I'm going to show you again using a model and algebraically how to solve it. So here's my balance beam. Okay, and a lot of you are familiar with pouches and coins, so let's go ahead and go back to that. So our P is our pouch, and we don't know how much is in our pouch, and we're going to be using counters for our numbers. So minus 6 is the same thing as owing 6, which would be 6 negatives. Okay, and on the other side, I have 5 positives. Okay, and so again, the goal is to figure out how much is inside the pouch. So to figure out what's inside the pouch, I need to get rid of these 6 negatives. And so to get rid of 6 negatives, you got to add 6 positives, sorry. Or 6 positives. And so these guys are going to cancel out, but you got to keep your balance beam balanced. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Okay, and these guys are not going to cancel each other out. They are all positive. So they're friends, they hang out, and they party together. So what is inside our pouch is 5 plus 6, which gives us 11. And when we solve it algebraically, P minus 6 equals 5. Again, I like to divide my sides. And so I want the pouch by itself, or P by itself. So if I'm taking away 6, the inverse operation is to add 6. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. So your P has a value of 11. And you can see that it matches our model. And so this concludes this tutorial video.